All right, guys, welcome back to the Jeep Tesla drive unit conversion. I'm Bill from Linden, Tennessee. So last time we talked about battery boxes, part one, I showed you my concept of how the little plastic, hard plastic parts are going to be cut down on my table saw there, and how they'd be all sort of stacked on top of each other and sandwich the battery modules, Tesla modules together in my battery packs, my battery boxes. Well, I've since finished all of that, and let's take a look. So first of all, this is the completed box for the front. This would be where the engine was. And last time I tried to explain how this was going to work, but it was all laid out on the table, so it was kind of confusing, but it should be easier now. So the first battery module is going to go here. There'll be a sheet metal. It'll be boxed in. It'll be closed off. But the first module will go here, and then it rests on this little groove right here. Then the second one rests on that groove. Third one rests on that groove. And fourth one rests on that groove. And then the top piece bolts down from the top and sandwiches all together. Keeps everything from moving around. And I got these little spaces in here are just enough where the distance between these two spaces is less than the little flanges on the modules. So whenever it's tightened down, it holds them securely so they can't go anywhere. So that's pretty cool. This side will be where all the positive and negative terminals are. I'll have bus bars that go between each of the modules, and then I'll have battery cables coming off of the most positive and most negative module of the box, and it'll go to the other modules or distribution center or wherever it needs to go. On the other side, we have what will be the cooling system. I've got a diagram. I'll show you kind of how that works, but essentially this is going to be what it looks like. This is just a aluminum manifold off McMaster car with a whole bunch of little plastic barb fittings screwed in there. Yeah, so all these will have little lines that go to each of the cooling passages on the modules. So this side, let's say this is the pressure side. This is from the pump, so this will go into the inboard side of the modules on this side and on this side. And then there'll be another one of these over here that'll take all the warmed water out of the modules and back in here and into the rest of the system. So to make all these, to get all these stuff lined up, I don't have a drill press yet. I haven't been able to find a drill press that I like. I want one that sort of has direct drive and it has easily adjustable speeds, but more importantly, I want it to have reverse, so you can power tap holes whenever you tap and drill and tap holes. I want the drill press to be able to do that. But so without that, I made up this here little jig. Used my lathe to spin these little standoffs. The one side is smaller. That's 1 inch steel right there, and I turned that down to about 1 inch. And then the top part is whatever the steel was, the round pipe that I had, or the round steel that I had. And the way that works is, so for this side, got a little tab back there. This would be on so you would just line that up, push the tab all the way over to the end there, and then go ahead and take your drill and try and hold it up as straight as you can and drill a nice straight hole. And then for the plastic side of it, flip the thing over. It's got another little tab there, and you do the same thing. Use your fingers to kind of line it up to make it in the middle. And that actually worked really well. Where it started to go wrong towards the end is after drilling all the holes in the metal. It's impossible to hold it perfectly straight, so you end up, kind of doing this, and over time that like wallows out the hole. And then by the time I got to the last one, the long sections of the plastic, the drill was just off a little bit. At the top it didn't matter, but by the time you got down to the bottom, it sort of wandered a little bit. And if you can kind of make out how it's it's sort of stepped. I don't think it's going to be a problem because there should be enough space within the battery box to adjust for that, but we'll see. If it is a problem, I can either wallow those holes out or take this to a friend's planer and just plane that, shave that side down a little bit. You know, that'll fix that problem to fit inside the constraints of the box. So that's the front one. The back one, I have sort of mounted back. Well, first we'll do this. The battery box one is down there. That's got just one row wide of 4 high modules. The front is 2 row wide of 4 high modules. And then the back here is 2 rows wide of 2 modules, giving me a total of 16 modules. This is the little drawing. Yeah, so here's another example of how these tubes are going to be routed. Yeah. So this is my little drawing. I don't know if you understand this drawing, but anyway, you got a pump right here. Pump goes out into a heater, and it goes over to just a T fitting. And the way hydraulics work, the same as electricity works, this would be considered a parallel arrangement of these modules. So from the pump, it goes parallel to this one, and this one. And if you've got, say, let's say 5 psi coming out of the pump, there's going to be 5 psi in this manifold, 5 psi in this one, and 5 psi in that one. Then once the coolant goes through the battery, comes out the other side, then it just goes over the the outlet manifold and comes down into the drain of the system. The reservoir is going to be over here, and it just goes around. There'll be a radiator in here somewhere. I think my issue is going to be more with keeping the batteries warm in the winter than it is going to be keeping them cool in the summer. Of course, I'm going to step on the gas a couple times, but for the most part, driving down the road 60 miles an hour, I don't expect this to draw much more than 100 amps or so, or even less than that. Shoot, probably 50. 50 amps at 400 volts is 20 kilowatts. So that's probably all it's going to take to go about 60. So these batteries aren't going to be exercising particularly hard. So I don't really think they're going to get hot, even on the hottest Tennessee day. The problem is in the winter, you cannot charge lithium batteries when their core temperature is below freezing. Now the core temperature varies sometimes dramatically from the outside temperature. So you could go outside and it's 10 degrees outside, but since you just got back from town, the batteries themselves are 30 or 40 degrees or something like that. Then you can charge them. That's okay. But if you come out there in the morning and the cold has soaked into the batteries and the battery temperatures themselves are below freezing, then you can't charge them. It forms dendrites on the anode or on the electrode or something like that. Inside the battery is bad. You don't want to do that. And unfortunately, you can't tell when that's happened, but once it has happened, you've destroyed a cell. And if you do destroy a cell, then the next time you go to charge it, you can overcharge the battery and bad things happen. So that's how that is. Another thing to point out, I'm using 3/8. I'm using 3/8 all thread to hold these things together. Now 3/8 bolts would usually require a 9/16 socket, a 9/16 nut, kind of like that one there. But a 9/16 deep well won't fit inside of a 1-inch tube, 1-inch square tube. So what I did was I went back on McMaster car again and got some obscenely expensive 12-point sockets that are 1/2 inch. Now a 1/2 inch drive will fit inside, or 7/16 drive will fit inside of here. So there you go. That's what it did. Yeah, and it worked out really good. And that will hold everything together. And feel like I've forgotten something, but I don't know. We'll catch it next time. So, progress continues. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks. See you later.